Very good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Webisode session. And I've been also, suggesting all of you guys to attend today's Webisode live, but not the recorded, is because, this is one of the most exciting Webisodes that we've been hosting for the entire past 2 seasons. And today we have Mr. Rahul, who is the co-founder of Epigamia. I've already sent his profile to you all, but to give you a quick introduction about Rahul, Rahul is an IIT graduate. He started his entrepreneurial journey very young, and then later he pursued his master's from Indian School of Business, and then later he started a brand called Drums Food International. And one of the brands that we all are using today is Epigamia, the yogurts, the very famous yogurts that we all consume. And today, let us try to understand his journey, and also he's going to give you certain insights on his entrepreneurial journey and also the perspective towards entrepreneurship to you all. Once again, welcome, Rahul. Very good evening to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pawan. And very excited to be here. And thank you for having me here. It's, as I said, great initiative. And hopefully, I will be able to do justice and maybe inspire some people to, to go on their own entrepreneurship journeys.
Yes. So before we jump into the discussion, when I was just discussing with the team, why we are bringing Rahul is today is because there is a tangibility. Whenever we go to a grocery store, at the refrigerators we see a lot of Epigamia products, right? Whenever before this webisode, we'll have different perception about Epigamia on we just buy it because we are used to it, but from tomorrow onwards, whenever they're buying, they should see the journey of Epigamia, the efforts towards this, and they have to understand the entire model of Epigamia. And I'm sure they'll be enjoying buying that after this session, and I'm very much excited for that. So Rahul, before we get into the journey of Epigamia, I've been just going through your LinkedIn profile. It says from your undergraduation, but it did not mention about your schooling. I really wanted to know about your schooling. So where did you do your schooling, and how was your your schooling days?
Sure. So I actually am a dip site. So basically, I have studied in Delhi Public School in Delhi. I'm born and brought up Delhiite. Okay, true blue Delhiite, so to say. And here is where home is, where family is. And I actually did my schooling from Delhi Public School, Vasant Kunj, right? And so yes, so I had those were actually the best days that you can ever have, right?
Yes.
School days are the best days where you're carefree, but also, you start getting to know towards the later part, right? That what are the things that you're interested in, but I think that those are the days where you should actually explore everything, and be it academics, be it sports, extracurriculars, dramatics, debating. You should try and explore as many things as possible. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So
that
how
was
good
my
were you in the
schooling.
academics? With the academics, how good were you in schools?
So I would say I was decently good,
Uh,
and so yes, so that was something that came to me, something very I was very proud of, and
yes.
got the gold medal, and in school for academics, and in our school we had the blue blazers and the blue ties and all that, so got all of that. So touchwood, academics was a good area for me in school.
Yeah, yeah. So but you from a family background? Your family background is already into business, or were you exposed to a little bit of business concept from the school? Did you take
Yeah.
commerce or anything like that?
No, so my family business. I come from a family business background,
Okay.
right? My family has been into the stock markets, and into stock market broking and retailing, right? They have been into business. So all I've heard while growing up are different, ways of. So basically, I've observed my dad. My dad is a first generation entrepreneur, and so
Yes.
he built up his business from scratch, and that is whom I got very inspired with, right? And so that you can say kind of it was as I was growing up, it was in my blood, right? So
Yeah.
business, so yes, so I come from a family business background. Yeah.
Great, great. and later you moved to IIT Bombay and you have taken metallurgy. So, I
Yeah.
mean, were you inclined towards metallurgy, or what is the reason that you have taken metallurgical,
So,
background? Yeah.
so honestly, I knew nothing about metallurgy, material science. For me, I mean, and I'm assuming for a lot of kids out there, right? It's just IIT, right? And that is the dream. And honestly, I mean, that has been the best thing that has happened to me in my life, right? I mean, the kind of people that you meet over there, the kind of opportunities that you get, how it shapes your mind, right? I mean, you can just so it's not that that it's because of some some other parameter. It's just that your mind becomes is so broadened by all the various experiences that you get in IIT, right? That I think for you to be willing to explore a lot of things, right, in life, I mean, that just comes very easy and natural to most of us now.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
so metallurgy, yes, I mean, that just happened by chance, right? Even though I loved it, but did not pursue it after college, right?
Yeah.
I went into banking after that, and then so yes, so that was something that was not part of the plan, at least
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So after, I mean, IIT, you went to, corporate world, and later you have started your first venture, and
Yeah.
you have done your PG in Indian School of Business again in Hyderabad.
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, when did that first seed of entrepreneurship has begun? I mean, were you planning for this right from your school or college days, or how did that happen?
No, so that actually happened while I was at Deutsche Bank. So basically, I was into investment banking, and life was pretty good that time. I mean, I was so most of the time I was actually staying abroad. So I was in Singapore first, then I moved to Hong Kong, and so it was a pretty good life. But then I actually wanted to do a lot more, right? I mean, I wanted to make a real impact. And now that I think about it, right, so both the experiences are very different, both the opportunities are very different in life, and which is why I'm very glad that I actually got to experience something like that very early in my life, which has now actually show, and now seeing the other side of it, I can now correlate that what the differences are between, and both have their own pros and cons, right?
Yes.
So make no mistake about that. So but yes, I mean, so the bug, actually, I was bitten by the bug when I was actually in Deutsche Bank. And that's when I thought that, okay, this is, I mean, even though it's great what I'm doing, and the
Yeah.
industry is great, the glamour is great, honestly,
Yes.
but this is not what I do want to do my whole life. And I want to do something meaningful where I can actually make an impact, right? And that's when I decided to quit. And as a soft landing, I joined Indian School of Business for my MBA in Hyderabad, right? So that it gives me 1 year to kind of explore various options, figure out what to do going forward. And that was so that then so ISB is where the first genesis of the idea of the dairy industry for me was born.
Correct. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, so do you suggest that people should have that soft landing into entrepreneurship, right? I mean, so if all you really have some idea to start on
Yeah.
your own,
Yeah.
so do you think that people should have that soft landing, or they need to have a strong backup like say ISB or platforms like Metamorphosis or anything like that?
So, see, what I would definitely say is that a soft landing is not absolutely required, but some degree of exposure to what it takes to succeed is definitely helpful, right? So,
Yeah.
something like a metamorphosis or an ISB will definitely equip you with the necessary tools, right?
Correct.
For example, because see, it's a very tough and brutal world out there, right? I
Correct.
mean, so you have to be able to have some tools for you to be able to navigate it, right?
Yes.
And so for example, things like metamorphosis will actually be very good in giving you those tools, So which is why, I mean, a soft landing is not necessarily required, but you should have some degree of experience, or you should have very good mentors who can actually guide you throughout your journey, or through the way. Even if you have that, I think then, I mean, you can jump straight into it. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
and honestly, you learn along the way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So, I mean, after so ISB, again, when you started your first venture, I think it's not Drums Food, it was called something
Yes.
else before.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, what was that about? And I mean, how did that shape up? And like, what was the problem that you were trying to solve?
So, see, at that time, what happened was that I had just moved back from outside, and when I came to Hyderabad, so I am a huge dairy fan, and so when I was having that, so in Hyderabad, I actually noticed a significant difference in the quality of the milk and milk products that we were having vis-a-vis what I was used to while I was staying outside. So then I started exploring. So one very interesting thing happened, that at that time in ISB, uh, in the PGP Pro batch, there was this gentleman named Mr. Reddy, who is the owner of Creamline Dairy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he actually, so I actually went and spoke to him that this is what I'm seeing and feeling, and so what exactly is the issue. So he said that I mean, it's so why don't you do some more research, and I'm more than happy to help you, and I'll put you in touch with my technical head, etc. And that is where I started getting more and more deep into the dairy industry, and I realized the problems that were actually plaguing the industry, right? So
Yes.
everybody tries to do their best, but then the chain itself becomes so long that there are a lot of leakages or pilferages that happen in the chain itself. And that is when the first idea, which was my first venture, which was Dr. Moo organic milk, right? So that's how it was born. And so I did some research with about 50 odd alums of ISB who were actually living in Hyderabad, and we actually went to all their homes, 50 alumni in Hyderabad. And we did about 10 minutes of sessions with them, that
Yeah.
that and we actually so we found out some organic milk suppliers in Bombay, and we flew in some organic milk from Mumbai to Hyderabad, and we went to their houses, and we got their feedback. And the immediate feedback was, wow, this is, I mean, this is so much better than what we are used to, right?
Yeah.
And we would definitely, this is something that we would definitely be willing to pay for, or willing to immediately buy, right? And that is when we kind of understood that we are onto something. This is a real problem, right? And that we should solve. And so then we started off in Mumbai. We tied up with the farm. It took us almost 8 to 9 months to find the perfect partner for our back end production and sourcing, right? And then after that, once we did that, then it was a completely integrated setup. So right from the milking to the packaging, there was completely no exposure anywhere, right? And that is what gave us the confidence. And we got all the possible testing done. And that's why I mean, we were able to provide all this information to our customers also, right? And our customers were typically mothers, right, who were
Yeah.
actually buying. The consumer was the child, but the
Yes.
customer was the mother, right? The buyer
Correct.
was the mother. So our job was to convince the mother, right? And
Yes.
when we were able to give all this data to them about all the tests that we have done on the quality of milk, the entire farm, the entire production process, we generated a lot of trust that people had in us and our brand. And so that helped us in getting very, very good word of mouth in a very short period of time.
Great. So, I mean, you have identified a problem, and also you have done your own validation by conducting certain market research, by going to
Yes.
all the alums there. And, you have a clear profile of who your customer is. So this is one
Yes.
thing that, our students get, often confused between a consumer and a customer.
Yes.
I think you have told us very clearly that, consumer is the one, who consumes your product. Customer is the one who buys for your product. So that
Yes.
is a very interesting insight for us. And then how did Epigamia grow? I mean, what was the first inception of Epigamia? Because,
Yeah.
your milk product is something that is doing pretty good. And how did it shape up to Drums Food?
Yes. So at that time, so basically while I was doing Doctor Move, so I was actually exploring options to scale up faster, and so somebody introduced me to Rohan, who's now my co-founder at Epigamia, right? And so basically, I was trying to sell him the organic milk for his ice cream. So they were doing a brand of ice cream called Hokey Pokey. It's not very popular in Hyderabad, but in Bombay, Delhi, it's pretty popular, right?
Okay.
So they were doing a brand of ice cream called Hokey Pokey, and that's when we connected, and we really hit it off. I mean, you just have a connection with somebody, and then that's so one day we were just discussing that this is fine, but ultimately, and both he's from the States, he's from US, and I had also lived abroad for some time, and we were both huge fans of Greek yogurt, right? And we were like, why doesn't something like this exist in India? And so we are like, okay boss, let's do this, right? I mean, there's absolutely nothing to think about. And thankfully, we one of our the third co-founder that we have, Chef Ganesh, he is a wizard at actually making brilliant products, right? Which is actually the first step, or the most important step that you have to get right, right? And so then, I mean, we all teamed up, and yeah, so Epigami was born then. And so yes, so then Chef started working on the products, and we started trying the products, and then yeah, so then June 2015 is when we finally launched.
Yeah. So is there any problem that you try to solve there, Rahul? I mean, because with the milk, there is a clear cut problem that you have already mentioned. So when you three teamed up, so is there any problem that you want to address to larger number of people?
Yes. So the problem that that we were, or that even now we are trying to address, is actually the choti bhook segment, right? So which is the 4 to 6 p.m. snack, and which is why Epigame is always positioned as a snack, right? So we wanted to give something to people which is fresh, because fresh in India actually equates to healthy. We don't have the concept of heating, or reheating the frozen foods. We actually want to prepare our food fresh, right? So we
Yes.
wanted to give something to people which is fresh, which has fruits, so the goodness of fruits, which has the goodness of milk, right? Which is absolutely no preservatives, all natural. And that is
Okay.
when we thought that Greek yogurt as a product fits all these criteria, right? And
Yeah.
that is something that so effectively the idea was that we have to give a healthier product. We don't want to be like classified as healthy, right? Which is then you get into the kale chips, etc. territory, right? So that is not something that we were looking at going after. We wanted to be healthier, so basically give you a much healthier option, which is tasty, and
Yeah.
taste is something that we never compromised on, and we will never compromise on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so similar to your doctor's move, any market
Yeah.
research that has been done, or how did you validate the idea of the problem that you're trying to solve?
Yes. So what we did was, over here, see, ultimately, what we believe is that the market is the true test, right? And you can do as much market research as you want, but ultimately, the market will tell you whether you are on the right track or not. Which is why
Correct.
what we did was that we actually got quite a few flavors, and we did a lot of sampling. I mean, we just we went to, for example, we went to a lot of marathons, right? Where so now these are people who are conscious about their health,
Correct.
right? And what we did was that after the marathon, we actually stood over there, we handed out one cup to every runner,
Yeah.
right? And we started observing whether they're actually liking it, what are their reactions, and whether they're asking us that what is this product, where can I get it, because this is a high protein product, right? It is tasty, it is healthier. So that was one of the very good places where we did our research, right?
Yeah.
And so we did not and so that's how we actually started. And then we thought that let's just put it into the market. For example, I'll tell you, just to give you an example, right, from the old days when we actually launched this. So we actually had 6 flavors that we launched with, right? And 3
Okay.
were the regular ones, which is the plain mango strawberry, which everybody has. We had 3 very interesting flavors, which was one was a minty chaat, one was a imli chutney, and one was a khatta meetha. right?
Huh.
And so these were savory flavors, and we
Yes.
thought that we'll be very super innovative and launch Greek yogurts in the form of these savory flavors.
Yes.
And we were super excited about that because we loved those products. But the
Yes.
market told us that, boss, sorry, I mean, for us yogurt does not mean this. This is good for us in chart, but we
Yes.
will not want to have it as a yogurt or as a snack, right? As an
Yes.
independent snack. And so that is what the market told us. So which is why
Yes.
sometimes your market research actually absolutely goes wrong, and
Right.
ultimately the proof of the pudding is what the market says. So which is
Correct.
why our philosophy always has been fail fast, right? So do some preliminary research, get a generic idea on the product, on the concept, etc., and then put it in the market. And
Yes.
in 2 months you will know whether people are liking it, people are buying it. So
Yes.
repeat purchases are actually the biggest metric for any product, according to me, right? If the product is being purchased repeatedly, that
Yes.
means you are home. That means you've done something right.
Great, great, very interesting. I mean, so you have given us two insights out here. One is, the market is going to give you the exact. I mean, they are going to validate your product in a much
Yes.
better way. And if at all they gave you a very good reasons on why you are failing, I think you need to
Yeah.
fail fast and move on to the
Yes.
next thing. Very
Absolutely.
very interesting. And so, who was the consumer that you were focusing? Because in the time segment of 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., right? I mean, see, you have different demographics from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. folks. I
Yeah.
mean, but did you have your own profile in mind, your own
Yes.
customer or consumer profiles in mind?
Yes. So our customer profile, very clear. Our positioning is 28 to 35 SEC A plus, male and female. So that was our targeting. That was our core targeting, right?
Yeah.
Core audience. And then obviously there is a halo effect. Once people start having it, right, then their families get introduced to it. So then kids come into the picture, then
Yes.
the elder generation comes into the picture. But our core target audience was the 28 to 35-year old.
Yeah, so 28 to 35 because they are all into fitness or they want to maintain their like you mentioned. But I see here a lot of kids. I mean,
Yeah.
who are from 13 to 20 years of age or 11 to 20 years of age. Also, very much into yogurts. When I did market research,
Yes.
only for this.
Yes.
So how did that? I mean, how did that add up to the profile? I mean, is it because of the families like you were mentioning, or
Yes.
or eventually how did it happen?
So see, so in a product category like this, right? First, the family has to actually buy in, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so this is not something which is very you can say which comes naturally for kids to have, right? So once the family starts having, then the kid will also I mean eventually like, because see, eventually it is flavored yogurt, right? It is flavored curd. So which is why they would like it, they would love to have it, but you've got to introduce it to them, right? And which
Yeah.
so we never went after marketing the product to kids, right?
Yes.
That's not, because that was not our core audience. But once,
Yeah.
for example, you get the 28 to 35 year old, so I mean these are young parents, right?
Yes.
So so either they would have a young kid or they would
Yeah.
have an elder at home. So then those automatically come into the halo of your
Yes.
consumer base. So that's how it eventually grew.
Yes, yes, I definitely agree to that. And also, epigami is one of the rarest snacks,
Yeah.
which can be actually targeted to the kids also, because other snacks, when you are seeing them, either they are aerated or
Yeah.
they have plenty of other things where the parents don't suggest the kids to buy them in the grocery store. So
Yes.
this is one thing that I have got a very good analysis when we thought when you were coming. That's when
Yeah.
when we did market research,
Yeah.
because healthy snacks are very rare. That too, that 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. snacks, very hardly you will find any healthy snack. And Epigami
Absolutely.
falls into one of that categories that it's okay for the kids to have them right after their school hours, to have it and go to their, it has become another energy booster for the kids as well. So that is
Exactly. And that's where the taste actually aspect helps a lot, right? Because I mean, ultimately the product is super tasty. And for example, the fruit yogurts, I mean, the kids love it because of the and we actually source real fruits, right? So for
Yeah.
example, our strawberries will be from Mahabaleshwar, our mangoes will be from Ratnagiri, right? Our vanilla bean will be from Coorg. So we actually go to the source where the product, where these fruits are actually grown, and we get
Yes.
them. So that's what actually helps us to get that taste.
Yes.
So that helps.
Very interesting. And so I want to know a little more on the business model that you have. So where do you generate the revenues? Are they directly from, I mean, is it a B2B model or is it a B2C model?
So see, so how we do is, so we have both actually. We are B2B as well as B2C. And for us, B2B is effectively when we are selling to the retailer, and then the
Yeah.
retailer is selling to the consumers. And recently, then during the lockdown, which is in May, we actually launched our B2C business, where we, or rather D2C, which is direct to consumer, right? So where we actually sell direct to consumers through our platform. So we now have a platform, and then from there, consumers can buy directly, and then within 24 to 48 hours, actually it is at the doorstep, fresh product,
Yeah.
right? So we of and even today, almost 85% of our business is from the retail channel itself, right? And in the retail channel, we have all three types, right? So it's an omni channel play, where you have the modern trade, you have the general trade, which is the kirana stores, and then
Yeah.
you have the e-commerce guys like a Big Basket, Amazon.
Yes.
So that's how we build our business.
Great, great. So, I mean, how is your, I mean, B2C going on now? I mean, what difference that you observed from B2B and B2C? So, because our students, often any product can be actually B2B and B2C also. But,
Yes.
how do we prioritize that? I mean, how do we prioritize whether we need to incline towards B2B or B2C, depending on the startup stage that we are in?
So it all depends on what you're trying to do, right? For example, one of the biggest advantages that actually D2C gives us is direct interaction with the consumer, right? Because now that we are actually talking to the consumer directly. For
Yes.
example, now all our new product launches, what we do is we have launched about 3-4 products in the last couple of months. And what we do is now all those product launches are launched on direct to our B2C platform directly first,
Yes.
exclusively on that platform. Then we get feedback directly from consumers after selling it to them, right? And these are consumers who are paid for your product, right? See,
Yes.
ultimately, you've got to realize that when you are sampling out when you're sampling out the product, right? So from the people who you have sampled the product to the people who have actually purchased your product, the quality of the feedback will be
Yeah.
very rich and
Yeah.
then with the D2C platform, it actually allows us a lot of other data also, like for example repeat purchase behavior, buying behavior, and all that, which is really good for us to understand what kind of products to launch, what are the people wanting, what are the things that they like, what they don't like, etc. So
Yeah.
that is what is very very interesting, which has helped us in
Yeah.
shaping our strategy for the business.
Yeah, yeah. And talking about the competitors also, I mean, so are there any entry barriers here? What Epigamia has created purely because the kind of brand that you have established itself is a very
Yeah,
big entry
yeah,
barrier for
yeah.
others. But I mean, what is your take with respect to Epigamia's value proposition, or what is your take with respect to the competitive advantage that Epigamia has, and also for the student ideas, if at all any student is having an idea, so how do they arrive at some certain value propositions?
Sure. So see, so ultimately, you don't create just one barrier to entry. It has to actually, you can never have, just one thing. Okay, this is what actually creates a barrier for other people to enter. It has to be, confluence of different things. For us, for example, one of the biggest strengths that we today have is our cold chain distribution, right? So we are actually we are one of the largest nationally cold chain distributors, which is actually going direct to the retailers, right? So that is
Right.
one. Second is the product itself, right? So our innovation, our uniqueness, our pioneering of products, etc., is very fast, right? So for
Yeah.
example, we launched Greek yogurt. Then when in time when people started coming into the category, by then we launched the smoothies. Then when
Yeah.
people will start coming into the smoothies category, we launched the plant based, right? So we launched the
Yeah.
coconut yogurt, the almond milk, then we launched the ghee. So we always believe in staying ahead of the curve, through our unique product launches, right?
Yeah.
And through through very exciting things that we will keep on doing to keep the customers and the consumers also engaged, right? That I will continue to have the same excitement about Epigamia as I used to when I started into the category.
Yes.
So that's the second. And third is obviously on the brand, right? I mean, ultimately your brand has to be really loved and liked by the consumers. So that is very important, because
Correct.
they should be able to connect with your brand. And the fourth piece, which is super important to us, is the consumer.
Mm.
We are really consumer obsessed. I mean, even focused is not the right word. We are actually obsessed, because so I mean, if there is any issue that the consumer faces, right, there are express and clear directions to all our teams that if there is any issue that is raised within 24 hours, that I mean, keep aside everything else, the first that issue has to be addressed, right? And we take consumer feedback very seriously. We are very fast in replying to them. So we actually so that kind of obsession has like really helped us in in connecting with our consumers much better. So yeah,
Interesting.
so these are some of the things that we have kind of done, right?
Yes.
So as a confluence to create some kind of leadership position.
Yes, yes, very interesting. I mean, see these four things, and I think it takes a lot to get there, right? I mean, it takes a lot to get there, and your entire team has to be aligned to this. So, how big is your team now? I mean, how big is Epigamia's or Drums Food team?
So now, I mean, our total strength is about 400 people, right, and
Wow.
growing.
Yes.
And yes, but as you spot on, Pawan. I mean, the one of the most crucial aspects, if not the most crucial aspect, actually, of building a successful startup is actually the people and the team,
Yes.
right? And it all so you need to have. And that is the true actually strength of a founder, that how can he or she kind of get those people to buy into the vision, into having the same level of energy, same level of passion, same level of
Yes.
sincerity that the founder actually has, for them to be able to to actually do this together. I mean, and so it has to be that everybody. It's a very high pressure situation at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
which is why, right, everybody has to be in it together.
Yes.
So that is the most important aspect.
So, what are the skills that you generally see, Rahul? I mean, because now the skills are very uncertain, and I mean they keep changing now. The future of skills that are required, I think that they keep changing. You've been hiring so many people, and you're seeing them. So, what is the one thing that you see in a student or in an upcoming freshman for you, or what is one skill or three skills if at all you can mention to our students? I think they'll focus on building up those skills.
So ultimately, Pawan, see, it all depends on what stage the startup is at and what is. So see, when you are starting off, right? I mean, the kind of people that you are looking for is a
Yes.
much more entrepreneurial person, who's actually very extremely driven and passionate, right?
Correct.
Very a self-starter, right? Who has a lot of ideas, who's not actually afraid to experiment, try out things, and be be absolutely ready and be okay with failure. I mean, So I mean, people are I mean, they
Yes.
will say that, it's okay, but people are not okay with failure, and that is
Yeah.
something that that is not good. You have to be okay with that. All you have to do is you have to learn that what went wrong, and I mean, make sure that that becomes your biggest strength, that you keep on learning, right? So
Yes.
you have to be ready to experiment. So I would say that one of the most important things that I would actually see is, first is passion, and the kind of the passion and the zeal that a person has.
Yes.
Second, an extremely an attitude where you are constantly willing to learn and unlearn, right?
Yes.
So both are important, learning and unlearning, because I mean, you should never come with a preset pre-decided mindset that, okay, I know this is how things have to be done, etc.,
Yes.
right? And so that is the second thing that I would say. And the third thing is being able to take initiatives, and being able to experiment. So these are three things that I feel that are super critical.
Very interesting. So three skills. I think the risk-taking attitude, and willingness to learn, willingness to listen, and also that passion is something that is required. And I'm sure the current students that have been watching live, they've been already trying to build there, and they're all very much passionate with their own ideas. And if you're see on the chat box, already there's one student willing to is asking will Epigamia collaborate with a fitness-based venture meant for teens, or any suggestions on that? Is collaboration with fitness-based venture meant for teenagers? So is Epigamia ready to collaborate? So she's Mahek, she's from
Absolutely.
Mumbai.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Sorry, let me just see. Hi, Mac. Absolutely. I mean, why not? I would please email me, and what you have in mind. And as I said, we are always willing to explore different things. We are always willing to see what interesting things are happening, and we are more than happy to collaborate and try it out. As I said, I mean, no harm in trying it out, right? So, yeah, more than happy.
Absolutely. And we have got one more question from Manya. Manya is also our student. So she has an idea called Celestial Lights, where festival as a service. So if at all you're celebrating any festival, you can order anything with respect to that festival. So she has come up with her own e-commerce platform. So she's been asking with respect to flavoring, how do you connect with a wider range of sourcing industry? With respect to flavoring, I mean, if at all you want to have more flavors, how do you connect with wider range of sourcing industries?
Sure. So, Manya, on that, see, on the flavoring piece, there are a lot of experts now, right? And it all depends on the product development, right? For example, now, if you're looking to venture into some fruit kind of flavoring, right? So there are a lot of vendors now who will actually offer you solutions, who will help you with recommendations and all. So ultimately, if you have some direction in which you want to go, I mean, sourcing and product development are not challenges, right? As long as you know which direction you want to go in. And if I can be of any help, I would love to help you out.
Great, great. Thanks for the question, Manya. And so before we take up more questions, so how was your last 200 days, Rahul? I mean, last 200 days of your in terms of your professional life and also personal life. How is it? How was your last 200 days?
So, see, I mean, it's been chaos, obviously, and right. And I think but touch wood, I think I want to really thank God that we are all safe, and we don't have to worry about our next meal, and we all
Yes.
are safe in our own houses with our families, right? And that is something that we all should be very grateful to God for, right? Apart from that, on the work front, I mean, so see, we had actually been thinking about this direct to consumer platform for a very long time. We had been thinking of going digital, right? But there was just, I mean, some kind of friction, that some kind of lethargy in actually doing that. But then COVID came, and it just pushed us, and it actually kind of forced us into doing that. And so, we actually kind of made this situation into our advantage. And so the biggest thing that we have actually, the biggest initiative that so two big initiatives that we have been occupied with over the last 200 days. One is launching our digital business, which is the direct to consumer platform. And second is launching new product categories. So we've gone very big on the plant-based segment. So we first launched the coconut yogurts, and now just this week, I mean, just a couple of days back, actually, we've launched our almond milk. Right.
Wow.
So yes. So I mean, we actually tried to see that, what best can be made out of the situation. And so yeah, you cannot, obviously, you cannot let the situation get to you. You just have to see how to come out of it.
Yes, very, very interesting. So, I mean, I've also been watching, your space, your digital space. You have been launching new products. Like, I think you've been launching smoothies as well, and also you've been launching, on a lot of beverages segment. So, I mean, what is the intention behind that? I mean, is it to increase your market size, or is it something that it's already there as a part of your vision? I mean, how does that happen?
So for us, new products are a way of constantly keeping the consumer excited and engaged, and also to keep on giving them new and new offerings, right? Because see, there is a certain trust that is now associated with the brand, right?
Yes.
And ultimately, people know that whatever products come out of here will be good with respect to quality, with respect to taste, with respect to packaging, right? So now our endeavor is to give them more and more options, right? So that so someday, for example, they'll in the morning they'll have a Greek yogurt, but then in the evening, okay, I don't feel like having a yogurt, so let me have a smoothie, right? Or for after dinner, let me have a mishti doi, right? So ultimately, it's all about giving a bouquet of options to the consumers, right? So more and more options should be there. And now with our plant-based products, I mean, it's all about giving them a further option that okay, we are not asking you to become vegan or we are asking if you want to be flexitarian, right? That, for example, today I don't feel like having a yogurt. Okay, fine, let's have a coconut yogurt, right? So that's what we are trying to give more and more options to people.
Great. So we'll take again a couple of questions which are coming up. We have a question from Pranav, who is a student from Kolkata. So he's asking, sir, we heard from you how in your experience waited for an opportunity or an idea to struck in order to get into entrepreneurship through a soft landing, as sir mentioned. And later we also heard from you about your tactic to fail early, keeping this in mind. Do you believe that entrepreneurs should wait for that one opportunity and then work towards that? Or we should keep trying and trying with any idea or opportunity we get and force our entry into entrepreneurship, as that would help us enforce your tactic of failing early? Which path do you believe would be more ideal?
Okay, so see, I think so. Let me clarify. So first of all, I mean, I honestly don't think that you should get into entrepreneurship just for the sake of becoming an entrepreneur, right? So I do not agree with the philosophy that you should keep on trying out a lot of things because ultimately you've got to have focus, and if you don't have focus and if you don't give it 100% of your time and energy, I mean, you've lost the battle on day one, right? So which is why you've got to give time to an idea. I mean, the perfect opportunity or the perfect idea doesn't exist. I mean, it's a myth, right? So which is why if there is something that you are passionate about, if there is something that you have conviction on, I mean, go for it, right? If obviously figure out the various aspects to it, take a try. So ultimately it's all about throwing darts, right? All you have to ensure is that out of the 10 darts that you throw, right, at least that they're not going completely off, right? So which is why please be 100% sure that this is the path I want to take. And then once you've taken that path, please give it enough time for it to become for you to give it a chance to become successful. That is one. On the second piece, on the fail fast, once you have chosen your path, right, over there, when you are now getting into different things, right, so see, you will have a lot of options. And so actually the bigger problem for an entrepreneur is not to say yes but to say no, because I
Yes.
mean, you keep getting so many options every single day, so you have to pick and choose your battles, right? But when you have chosen your battle, do not spend endless time in planning, right? I mean, so there are people who will keep planning for a year, 2 years, etc., and then launch and find out that I mean, the market doesn't really need it, right? Even though you feel that this is what the market exactly needs. So what I'm saying is that once you are on that path, then don't take that much time. I mean, launch it and see what the market has to say, and then keep improving as you go. So that's
Great.
what I meant.
Great. So we have, and thanks for that insight, Rahul. I think Pranav, you've got very good insight, I believe. And we have three students we have chosen to directly interact with you live today. So we have Nirvan, Moksha, and Zara. So first, let me, bring Nirvan onto the panel. Uh, Nirvan, hi, good evening.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, Nirvan. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Very,
Yes.
very nice. So good to see such a young chap, interested in entrepreneurship. Really makes me very happy. Congratulations. You've won the
Thanks,
first
sir.
prize.
So I use your products on a weekly basis, and I really like the product. So the question I have for your product is there a way to make it more sustainable by using non plastic containers for your product? Is there a plan?
Nirvan, that is an excellent question, and thank you so much for actually asking that question. We Sustainability is a huge core belief that all of us have at Epigamia, including our board and our investors, and that is something that we are very actively working on. Now, see, we have to take baby steps. Globally, there are some technologies which are now coming up, right? For example, with respect to replacing the plastic for the cups, right? But those technologies are not yet commercially viable and completely 100% feasible. But yes, there is a lot of research going on it, and yes, once something happens, we would be one of the early ones to jump on the bandwagon. That is definitely a big focus area for us. But yes, we are starting a lot. We are doing a lot on the sustainability front. For example, we are doing a lot on the water conservation, on energy. For example, all our factories, we are actually now trying to move them to solar power very soon, right? So that so we are trying to do our bit for the environment. Hopefully soon we will be able to tackle the plastic cup problem as well.
Sir, I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So, what is the main purpose of Epigamia, of starting Epigamia?
So main purpose, Nirvan, is to be able to give people an option to have a fresh and healthier snack offering, instead of the regular the samosas or the chips that they have. So that was the main purpose that we started out with. Obviously, we have now expanded into a lot of different offerings. But yes, it is to offer something which is good for you as well as extremely tasty to have.
And
And
who is exactly your target audience for the Greek yogurt?
so Greek yogurt. Okay. We discussed about this, Nirvan. So I think we have more questions coming up. I'm sorry to interrupt here. But Nirvan, I
Yes.
mean, so like, Rahul has already mentioned, their main target is from the ages 28 to 35. 28 to 35 ages is the, main target consumers. And of course, we're all using it because we have been introduced to it and the kind of taste that we got. And hence you and me are, the best consumers of, Epigamia. And we will take more questions. Thank you so much for interaction. And anything else that you want to ask, Nirvan?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nirvan. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nirvan. And we have Zara here. I'm just unmuting Zara. Hey, Zara.
Hi.
Hi, Zara.
So So good evening, sir. So I actually had two questions in mind. One was that how do you think of the name Epigamia? Is it like a Greek name or something, or it just came to you?
No. So a very good question, Zara. See, when we were actually coming up and brainstorming on this name, so let me just give you the origin, or rather where this what epigamia is, right? So just to bore you with a very short history lesson. So when the Greeks actually invaded India, when Alexander actually invaded India, and there was a battle with Chandragupta Maurya. Now the Greeks version is that Alexander grew tired and he retreated, and the Indians version is that Chandragupta Maurya defeated Alexander. But regardless, there was a peace treaty that was signed between the Indians and the Greeks, which was called Epigamia, which signified a merger of two cultures, right? And so that is what we actually stand for, that our products are trendy but yet traditional. For example, now Greek yogurt, right? So ultimately it is a contemporary take on the traditional Shrikhand. Our smoothies is a contemporary take on the traditional lassi. So that is how we see a merging of two cultures, and that's how the name Epigamia came up.
So, and my second question is like a general question. So if you were supposed to give advice to an entrepreneur who has an idea, not exactly an entrepreneur, but a person who dreams to be an entrepreneur, and he or she has an idea for a business, would you tell the person to explore more options and have different experiences, or start the business, come to the market with an MVP and move with that idea?
So, see, Zara, it all depends on what experience you've already had, right? And so, if you are extremely convinced on the idea, and but you, as I said initially, right, you've got to be equipped with the right tools, and a program like you are doing yourself is something which is actually equipping you with the right tools. And so if you have knowledge, if you have the right mentors to help you along the way, then I mean, by all means, please go for it, right? Just have conviction in your idea and go and learn along the way, as long as you have the right guidance and who's there to help you and guide you along the way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Can you
Zara.
quickly explain about your idea in 30 seconds that you have?
Okay. So my idea is known as the Golden Gate. So what my idea does is it creates a perfect holiday for a person. Now how? When you want to book a holiday, you have to go through so many apps to book excursions, tour guides, and hotels, flights, etc. So what we do is we give you an entire package for a holiday, providing you all services for a perfect holiday. So it's like a one-stop shop.
Very nice. Count me in as your first consumer whenever you launch. Yeah. Very
Zara
nice.
is an author. She's also an author as well, and she's been working on so
Wow.
many ideas. So yes, and
Very nice.
we have Moksha. So we'll take one more question. Moksha. Moksha, hi.
Hi, Moksha.
I also had pretty similar questions like Zara, like how did you get the name Epigamia and what advice you would give? So I had another question, which was like, what is the branding strategy of your company, Epigamia?
So, I mean, see, that's a very broad question, Moksha, but the branding strategy actually flows from your positioning, right? So when we were, for example, when we finalize that our target audience is the 28 to 35-year-old SECA plus male/female, and then we also know that we want to position ourselves as a snack, as a healthier snack, right? So once you have the various aspects or various architecture in place, then that is from where the brand architecture will then flow, right? Then the entire look and feel of the brand, the how you talk to consumers, what kind of messaging you have, everything will flow first you have to define your consumer segment. You have to define what you stand for and what you are, what you want to say with your products to the consumers. And then from there, you will get your entire brand architecture.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Moksha.
Thank you, Moksha. All the best.
Thank
Yes.
you, sir.
I mean, there are a lot of questions popping up, but anyways, I'll write to Rahul on the questions that we have got. Probably once we get replies from Rahul, I'll definitely give back. But one interesting question from Vedadrish is from US. So Vedadrish is asking, hello sir, how come you started this business in India and not in USA, where there are more people who widely use dairy products such as yogurt? Won't you have more attraction there?
Yes, but then there are already 50 other players who are already doing something like this, right? And so see, I mean, Chobani is the king of this business, right? They are the ones who actually got Greek yogurt into mainstream. And India as a country, I mean, is it's such a good growing market for good quality products. People are actually looking for good quality products over here, and which is why, I mean, I think that this is for anybody, India is actually the place for a good consumer brand today. I mean, people are ready for it. They're happy to experiment. They're happy to pay for good quality, and so which is why it's a very, very interesting time for consumer brands in India.
Great. Yes. So Parth is asking, what's the secret behind your successful market research and understand the consumer's interest? I mean, for Epigamia, how was it in terms of the market research?
So as I said, see, it all depends on, you have to understand what the consumer wants, right? So as long as you get a generally good feedback on the product and the concept, right, then you just have to let the market decide. So which is why you have to keep interacting with your consumer and kind of understand what they are really looking for.
Yes.
So it's not a one-day job. I mean, it gets done. So you have to develop insights as to what they're actually looking.
Yes. Great. So I think it. I mean, any other questions that are coming up, I'll definitely put across to Rahul, and once I get replies, I'll share it with you guys. Once again, Rahul. So it was an amazing, interaction. 1 hour just passed away like that, and we all have loved it. And
Thank you.
the position towards Epigamia is definitely going to change from tomorrow for us. And there are a lot of, I mean, even Skandan was mentioning that he's one of the great fan of your products, and he's telling how we have done it differently when compared to other companies. So I think the students or also the kids, they all love your products, and I just wanted to tell you, give you a big round of thank you for that, for the kind of brand that you have created. We've been loving your products.
Thank you so much, Pawan. And it was so great to actually interact with the students, and it's so actually heartening to see and so exciting to see kids getting interested in entrepreneurship at such a young age. And I feel that now India is definitely onto something big. I mean, if people are getting interested at such a young age. So that, I mean, honestly, I wasn't this dynamic when at this age. So which is really good to see.
Yes. So there are about 40,000 students like this at in our Metamorphosis platform. They've been working on different ideas. They're all entrepreneurially driven, and they've been launching their products. And there are more interesting initiatives that are coming from our end for the school students. And anyways, I'll keep you posted on that. I really want your support to mentor some of the students, or take your journey as an inspiration and to take it further.
Absolutely. Would love to be associated.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rahul.
Okay.
Have a great
Thank you, Pawan. Thank you. Bye.
Bye guys. Have a great week.